We all know that plagiarism is wrong, but do we truly understand the consequences? Family history writers caught plagiarizing may face serious consequences for their reputation. Notice how this viewer struggles with the fear of plagiarism. I'm leery of using other people's writings to base information about my ancestors because I have been traumatized by the fear of plagiarism. I am keeping track of my source citations, but should I quote sections or should I try to paraphrase? You've given some good examples, but I could use a few more. If you, like Cynthia, are fearful of plagiarism, I have great news. Avoiding plagiarism is easier than you might think. Howdy, I'm Devon Noel, and this is the Write Your Family History YouTube channel, where I teach you how to write your family histories in a non-boring way and make it super fun and easy to do. I believe in the adage, if you are prepared, you shall not fear. But what is plagiarism? We can't avoid something if we don't know what it is. According to the Copyright Alliance, plagiarism occurs when a party attempts to pass someone else's work or ideas off as their own, without properly giving credit to the original source. Plagiarism, while not against the law, is an ethical construct most commonly enforced by academic institutions. As family historians, we are likely already trying to cite our sources. As such, we are typically not trying to pass off someone else's work as our own. Plagiarism is problematic when students or academics submit scholarly papers to journals or institutions. It's also a problem for journalists or mainstream authors. For family historians, there are few agencies enforcing anti-plagiarism in our work. That being said, we should be ethical in our writing and learn ways to avoid trying to pass off someone else's work as our own. But did you know that there are some things that every writer may share that no one can accuse you of plagiarizing? It's true. Facts don't belong to anyone. But genealogists cite facts relevant to their ancestors to validate their research. That's very different from plagiarizing. The trouble family history writers get into is when adding historical context to our stories. What can we use? What can we use while also avoiding stealing someone else's words? Temperature, rainfall, snowfall, wind speed of hurricanes on a specific date in a particular place, the distance between two locations, or how tall something might be. Those are facts that cannot be plagiarized. Casualty numbers from a specific battle, or the number of people who traveled on a ship. Again, those facts can't be plagiarized. Prices of homes in a specific location at a specific time, the date a marriage took place, the date someone died. All of these are facts that, once again, cannot be plagiarized. In this social history source entitled The Official Roster of the Soldiers of the State of Ohio, available on the Internet Archive, we discover these facts: unit name, name of a captain, age, and so forth. You can use any of these facts without being accused of plagiarism. Additionally, some fact sentences are free to use because they are fact-based, such as the one you see on the screen. This sentence is chock full of facts and lacks any creative writing process. Therefore, using such a sentence is not plagiarism. However, if you found a paragraph that looks like this, Captain Lilly led his men with distinction and honor. Dave Robinson, who had big shoes to fill. Notice this paragraph has some creative processes to put all of these items together. To say it another way, if I insert this paragraph into my story without saying where that came from and signifying I am taking someone else's words, That is plagiarism. To reiterate, you aren't plagiarizing by putting these facts into your stories, but you should cite your sources because that's good genealogical practice. Do you see the difference? Let me know either way in the comments section. Now let's talk about a few other steps to avoid plagiarism when writing family stories. Perhaps you want to incorporate some social history from the book, The History of Franklin County, DOP. First, create a source citation like this. Then look at the section you want to incorporate into your story. For example, I want to focus on the price of public land in 1820. There are 3 safe options for incorporating the information about the price per acre into my story. Option 1 is to quote a section from the book and then insert a footnote and note mark after the quotation. Now, Cynthia had already mentioned, should I quote? We'll get to the shoulds in a moment. But notice I have put that quote, prior to 1820, the government price of the public land was $2 per acre in payments. And then it has that little superscript right at the end. And then I have the citation at the bottom of my page. That is an example of a direct quote. Option 2 is to paraphrase or restate the details in your own words. This would be an indirect quote or an inference, such as the cost of public land purchased from the government before 1820 was $2 per acre, and then it continues. But notice I still have that superscript at the end of the first sentence in which I mentioned some information from my source, and that keeps everything on the up and up and good to go with regards to plagiarism and quality citations. Option 3 involves incorporating facts into the story more naturally. Had John Smith bought public land from the government before 1820, he could purchase it for $2 per acre. If he did not have the total amount initially, he could make payments until John paid off the balance owed. This is a plagiarism-free way to leverage social history sources into your story. When you rearrange the facts from one source and combine it with points from another, and then tell your story, you definitely are out of the plagiarism trouble zone. So the real question is, which should you use? If you're afraid of plagiarism violations, then use option 3. However, sometimes you'll want to quote something from history word for word. If you find items that use the language of your ancestors and their community, then you should insert quotes using option 1. You'll find great quotes in sources like newspaper articles and pamphlets and so on. When referencing county histories or books detailing fashion, food, and customs of the time, I'd caution against quoting directly. Instead, a story flows better when you take such details from the stories about the time and place and weave them into your tale as it progresses. Again, that would be the third option. Remember, avoiding plagiarism is not only the right thing to do, but also easier than you might think. So take time to write and cite to protect your reputation while enhancing your genealogy books. If you have more questions on how to enhance your family stories, check out this playlist of videos right up here. Be sure to like this video and leave a comment on your way out.